Views and content expressed in the following program are not representative of ONTV or the Board of Directors. ONTV and its Board of Directors do not endorse the views, thoughts, or content of the following program.
Hello everybody, my name is David Lillis. This is my friend Todd Schleiger, and this is Political Talk. The purpose of this show is to talk about the current state of politics and hopefully come up with something that will make you think. We're not trying to sway you in any way or put our opinions as being the correct ones or not the correct ones. Sometimes we agree, sometimes we don't. Hopefully if we don't, that you don't see a test pattern. But right now, I'll turn it over to my partner Todd, who dresses a lot better than I do. Okay.
Well, what we mainly like to talk about and discuss between you and I when we're out there on the streets like everybody else is we get into some pretty good political conversations on what's going on mainly here in Michigan. I mean, sometimes we get carried away with our discussions of what's going on in the national stage, but what do you think about the politics here in Michigan?
Well, I'd like to take it a little further. The politics overall right now is in a state of disarray is about as nice as I can be at this point. I could go much further than that, but I don't think the censor would like it. The thing is that our form of politics right now has become so underhanded, so biased, that it's forgotten why it exists. And I hear politicians constantly, oh, the forefathers would have done this and this. Well, the forefathers never probably envisioned what they would have seen now. They saw something.
Let's hope not.
Yeah. What they saw in England, they got away from.
Right.
They sat there, they said, we can do better. And they came up with a form that, by the standards of the day, was brilliant.
Well, I think it still carries through till today. I mean, for what they foreseen and what they were trying to prevent, I think it still stands up today. It's just that you've got the two-party system now that, you know, a lot of what they're doing is just finger pointing instead of actually doing the job for the people.
Well, I think if you take it as its essence, what it was meant to be, and in theory, it is the best form of government anywhere in the world.
I'll agree with you on that one.
The people running it are the ones that are ruining it.
Well, I think the reason how they're ruining it is because they're not paying attention to what the people are saying or listening to the people. As far as, I mean, our Constitution in our country was set up as a republic, which was representative, the people being represented by an elected official that was supposed to go to Washington or to the capital of Lansing to do what the people in their districts wanted them to do. But now it's turned into what's the best way they can enrich themselves, in my opinion, and that's only my opinion. Instead of paying attention completely to what their districts are. I mean, their mentality from what I'm seeing is, let's go in there, let's make as much money as we can. At the same time, we'll try to help some of the people, but they don't really help the majority of the people in their districts.
Well, let's take that in the context of our area. In the state of Michigan, we have a state rep and a state senator.
Right.
They are elected. Now, when they run for office, basically what they're doing is they're asking us for the privilege of representing us.
Correct.
And we vote. And if we vote in their favor, we give them a yes, then they go up to Lansing and they are supposed to represent the district. Now, taking that at its word, they are to represent within the boundaries of that district in talking with the people in that district. You take their voices up and you cast a vote on their behalf, but that's not what happens.
No, what I'm seeing, and I don't know if the other people in our district see it as much as we do because we're paying attention to the political arena right now, but what they're doing is they're following party lines.
Yes.
They're trying to appease, well, this area is heavily Republican. So they're going up there to Lansing and they're trying to appease the Republican Party. They're not consciously paying attention to what their district is saying.
No, because they don't even come around in their district. They ingratiate themselves within the party for self-serving reasons and what they can get out of it and how far their career can go. And there have actually been people who have voted on things that are absolutely wrong for their district or just plain wrong, period, and yet they'll still vote for it because it is self-serving. Now, the people of their district, we get the residual. And now, let's say, for example, the candidate of your particular party wins. That's all you're going to get is residual off of it. That person hasn't represented you. He's represented several things, not just the party, the money that puts him there, the influence, and to the people who can make his career better.
Let's call the money what it really is. It's the lobbyists behind the party
or
behind that subject. Well, the majority of it is.
Oh, no, that's after you get into office. Before you get in, many of them sell their soul in order to get in. They'll say and do whatever it takes to get there. Now, when I ran, I didn't do that.
Right.
I told the people that I would represent them. In fact, my son asked me, he said, well, what are you going to do? You going to go up there and change things? No, I'm not. What I am going to do, which is something that is not done, well, no, I take that back. There's a few out there that are very good. So we shouldn't do a blanket statement on everybody.
Sure.
What I said was, I will represent this district, and the vote that will be cast, if I were your state rep, would be cast on behalf of the borders of this district. It would not be cast for anything else. The people here will decide what is best for them, for their home, their family, their kids, their financial life.
Within that district.
Within that district.
And you're supposed, as a representative, you're supposed, which the key meaning to that word is to represent your district.
Yes.
In other words, the majority of the people in that area that you're designated to stay at. Now, what I have a main issue with is a lot of people say it doesn't go on, but we all know it does. It's gerrymandering.
Oh, yeah.
Which is an issue that needs to be taken care of here in Michigan. It happens when the census comes out and they like to redraw the districts. And generally what happens is whichever political party's in charge, they try to redistrict the...
Well, let me take that a step further. First of all, after the census is taken, both parties are gerrymandering. And what gerrymandering is they cut up the districts and they go and they see with how the primary vote is cast.
Right.
And they can tell where people voted and how. They can see pockets of Republicans and pockets of Democrats. Now, first of all, it's against the law.
Yes.
It's absolutely against the law. But because both parties do it, neither one is going to turn on the other because then they both lose their privileges. So they both got their hat in the ring. And then what they do is instead of cutting out, for example, the state rep position, 85,000 people in a square, and then within that 85,000 in the borders, people will run for that office. But that's not what happens. What they do is they turn and twist and bring it all kinds of different ways. For example, Brenda Lawrence in Gary Peters' old district.
Right.
That covered 3 counties. It was like a snake.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Because they wanted to get as many Democrats in there as they possibly could. Just like up here, they want to get in as many Republicans.
Right.
The sad part is that that's one way of unfair government.
Right. Well, that's, in a sense, that's picking what they want for that district. Because if they draw it, no matter which side does it, they draw it, encapsulate as many Republicans in that area as they can, they know that area is going to more than likely be Republican.
Yeah.
Same goes for the Democrats. You know, I mean, we have pockets all through the state, and they know how these people vote because of the registrations.
Well, part of the reason also is that it should be done independently.
I agree with that. That's what I was going to bring up next. I mean, it should be a third party that goes in there and does the redistricting.
A panel of 7.
That way it would be fair.
Yeah.
But both sides are fighting against that idea.
Yes, and the amazing thing is that they both know it's wrong. And yet they stand there in front of us and, you know, no, it isn't. Yes, it is. One of the things that happened to me many years ago, I was talking with Jerry Wolf from the Oakland Press, and he asked me, he said, he was interviewing me to run for office, okay? And he wasn't really thrilled with it. He had no love for politicians, but unfortunately that was his assignment. So he said, Mr. Lillis, I said, yes. He said, what are you running for? State rep. What district? 46th. What party? Democrat. Why are you running? Because nothing's getting done.
It was like a labored questionnaire,
yeah, I mean,
huh?
he had all the enthusiasm of a cactus. And the thing was, then he kind of perked up a little bit, and then he said to me, well, what do you think makes a good politician? Somebody that knows the difference between right and wrong. And that right there was one of the major things that he keyed in on. Our politicians, a lot of them, do not know right from wrong.
Well, they do, but they just steer away from, I think they steer more towards party line than they do from the actual right and wrong.
I mean, we've had state reps up here who vote the way the party told them to. Now, no one was represented except the party.
Right.
The district was not represented.
And I can give you a prime example on that. And granted, it's back in May of 2015, Prop 1.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
You know, Proposition 1 was supposedly the 1 cent sales tax increase that was going to benefit our roads and our schools as well. It was mainly set aside for the roads as they pushed it. They didn't want to tell you about the other 10 laws that were hidden in behind it, but the people of Michigan actually got wise, and they started hearing about all these other hidden laws and bills that were behind it. And they actually, that was the most I've seen in a long time, that was going out there and researching this Proposition 1. Well, the end result of this story is 80% of the people in Michigan voted no against it because they found out that it would have been 2 years before any of the money was there for the roads or the schools that they had proposed in it. And then they didn't like what was hidden behind it because they also had a gas tax increase behind the 1 cent. But the whole thing was, the people told them no. What did Lansing do? They wait till appropriation time, and they shoved a gas tax increase right down the people's throat anyways. They added money to it so that the people weren't allowed to vote on it.
Well, initially what they did in 2014, when they went up there, and I want to throw this little note because it just still to this day angers me. In 2013, they were very generous in voting themselves in a hunting vacation.
Well, they've done a lot of things like that in Lansing
They
lately.
have their Thanksgiving break, but they put in a 2-week hunting vacation with pay.
Yes.
With pay, mind you. And then after Tim Skubic was interviewing Randy Richardville, who helped push this, and he said, Mr. Richardville, 2 weeks to go hunting? You know, isn't there enough work up there to do? Oh, well, yeah, I mean, you know, we'll be working in December. I think we'll do about 6 days then. Ain't that something? And then he said, well, how does your constituency feel about it? Oh, they're all in favor of it. I'll bet they are. So I'm telling the folks out there, go to your boss tomorrow and tell him that in your home, your family voted for you to take a 2-week hunting vacation with pay, and it was unanimous. Then go and tell your boss and see what happens.
Well,
But the point to that is, when they went back in December, they couldn't agree on anything.
nothing got done.
Well, they argued and argued, so Randy Richardville threw all of it together and said, here's what we'll do. We'll put it all in one package. We'll tell them it's 1 penny, which is what they did. And even to this day, they lie about that. Oh, we never said that. Well, I'm sorry, but I got the placards at home. The ones, let's see, I have a few more left because I've been putting them underneath the dogs to keep the floor clean. But they put it all together and they said, let's the people vote for it. Then after it passes through, well, they can't blame us because they voted for it, so it's their fault. Well, the people got smart, and they didn't vote for it. But Randy Richardville, there was one bill in there that he wanted, and that was to extend term limits so he could stay in office. He was more concerned about that, and they're still doing it to this day.
You know, and on that Prop 1 with the term limits portion, the bill that was hidden in there, that was one of the main things that turned the people away.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
That was one thing that they decided, no, I don't want these. I got to give them some respect because they are elected officials, but that was one thing that the people did not want, was to extend term limits for them.
No, one thing that really grinds on me, and who do you think holds the biggest share of the blame for the condition of what's going on right now?
I don't personally think it's one person, okay? I think it's both sides. Like I said, the majority of the time that we need something done here in Michigan, you got the Democrats and the Republicans. They can't even decide what to do for themselves, let alone for the people of Michigan. Other than, like you said, giving themselves a 2-week hunting vacation and an ice cream week.
Oh, that was a lot of work there. They took a whole week to figure that one out.
That's the issue that I have. And I think people, this gubernatorial coming up, need to look towards the third parties out there. You have independents out there, you have Green Party out there, you have libertarians out there, you have, I believe it's called the Taxpayer Act Party out there. They need to look elsewhere than our normal system because, like I said, they've shown us both numerous times that they can't get the job done.
Well, I want to take it different.
Okay.
I blame the voter, and I'll tell you why.
This ought to be good. I want to hear this.
Yeah, I'm going to piss off a lot of people with this, but here we go. When these politicians, and that includes me, when I have run for office, basically, I am coming to the people of the district, and I'm saying, I would like to represent you in Lansing.
Okay.
I'm asking for your vote. I'm asking for you. This is my platform. This is how I will conduct myself. Okay? And if you like what you hear and you give me the opportunity, then I am obligated to you as your employer. Because if you think about it, your
As an
vote.
employee.
Oh, yeah, as your employee, you're correct. As your employee, I'm asking you to hire me to represent you. Now, that's kind of simplifies it quite a bit. But the fact is, that's exactly what it is. And I think that the people now, I think we're seeing it more and more, are now starting to come out and say, I don't like what I'm seeing.
Right. But see, a lot of the politicians run into is what that voter has been ingrained to do. If they've been lifelong Republicans, it's harder than heck to get them to go to a Democrat or an independent or whatever because they're diehard Republicans. What I would suggest is that people actually listen to what the candidates are saying now. What's the viability of what they're saying? I guess now everything that we do out here as a political figure, now they're doing fact checking on everybody, which I don't think is a bad thing.
No, but it wasn't necessary.
It could hold their feet to the fire.
Well, I mean, some of the stuff, I sit in front of the TV and I swear I can't still understand that I still have a TV with some of the stuff that I hear because they talk so ludicrous. It just, how stupid do you think we are when you say the things that you say? And what I'm asking people to do, listen word for word what they say and eliminate Democrat and Republican. This is not a reality show. This is your life. These people will have a direct effect on your life. Example, 2008, when the stock market crashed.
For the housing bubble?
Yeah, we saw all these things coming. It wasn't like we didn't see it, but they kept saying, oh, don't worry about it, don't worry about it, I got it under control. You just trust me, trust me. When they say trust me,
run.
You know, yeah, as far as you can. Take a bus if you have to. But the thing is, they stand there and then they lie about it. And they lie to our face. Now, the lies that are coming out now...
I would use misled.
No. Not by
because-
today's standards.
You think? I mean, because sometimes they may be fed wrong information, because I know they don't do the research themselves.
Wow.
I'm trying to play the devil's advocate here.
Listen,
I don't want...
the devil doesn't talk so stupid. Some of
I'll
these
give you
people-
that one.
Some of these people are just outrageous.
I'll give you
in
that
the
as well.
things that they say.
Like I said, I was just trying to play devil's advocate there for a minute, okay?
What I'm hearing, and I'll come up with some of the statements, 3 million illegal aliens voted,
National time.
all for Hillary Clinton. Now, that right there is just ridiculous. Now, the funny thing is, 38 of the Secretary of States are Republican. So what you're saying is that the Secretary of States of all 50 states don't do their job. But the fact that they all voted that way, now, I could take that. I could take that because, you know what? I lost by, 10,000 votes. If I'm not mistaken, I think 15,000 illegal aliens voted here. I really won. You just don't know it.
Right.
I mean, you can say any damn thing you want. The point is that we need to, we aren't stupid. We know right from wrong. We know what is real and what isn't. And we need to stop where these guys are very entertaining and laughable, and they really prop up Saturday Night Live. We have to stand up and say, look, enough is enough. I am not going to allow you to mess up my life and my children's lives, because what happens now is going to go on further.
Right.
Now, during 2008, how many people lost their homes? I'm sorry, that's not funny.
Exactly.
How many soldiers were killed in a war that maybe we shouldn't have been in? Now, for those who have lost a son or a daughter in the war, you see it on TV, you look at it, and you move away from it. But for the parents of that, for someone to do something like that, to show that they have power, I'm sorry, that's wrong.
I agree with you.
And those are just two examples. There's many others we can go through.
It's still, the fact checking is a good thing. Don't get me wrong. And like I said, it holds their viability by them. I believe the politicians ought to be out here being honest and at least do the research themselves in order to get the correct numbers if they're going to bring numbers to the table. But at the same time, you see government hasn't actually gotten the favoritism of the people. I mean, the people feel like they're being misled and lied to all the time by whether it's the federal government or the state governments. And again, a perfect example for being lied to in Michigan is our Detroit public school system.
Yes.
Flint water crisis, and the stuff that goes on in Lansing where they want, like you said, voting in a 2-week hunting vacation with pay, ice cream week again. I mean, that's the one I find completely laughable over.
Okay. Those things may even sound trivial. So let's take some big numbers. The Senate, Randy Richardville again, wanted a new Senate office building.
I know exactly where you're going with this one.
And I called our state senator and asked him, I said, a new Senate office building, $158 million? And he said, I said, well, how did you vote on that? He said, you need to do your homework. If the Speaker of the Senate wants it, he gets it. Well, that Senate office building came to a total, to date, $314 million.
Yes, just shy of doubling.
Now, let's add on to that the Capitol Dome, $87 million. Proposal 1, $20 million to push it. In fact, I think it was $28 million. So, well, I'll lowball them and give them a break. $10 million for the two ladies who went to the Supreme Court. Mr. Schuette decided he wants the world according to Bill. And
yeah, now you got to remember, he's going to be running for governor here this 2018.
Yeah, heaven help us.
Yeah.
Then for Detroit schools, that was $576 million.
Yes,
and that was because they couldn't agree on anything. Detroit schools, Detroit is bad, so therefore the hell with them. And they caused most of what happened.
You don't mean that literally,
No,
Detroit's bad.
no.
Okay.
No, this is how was their attitude. And the same thing with Flint, because they knew what was happening in Flint, but until it affected their political career, it wasn't that important. Okay, so now you throw in $250-some million into Flint, and let's top it off with Mr. Snyder's $7.5 million allocated for his
legal fees.
Legal fees now. You all can sleep well at night because Governor Snyder is well taken care of. He's got good legal terms because you paid for it. Now, if you total up all that money, they said in 2014, we don't have money for roads. Where do you keep pulling out these millions?
Well, you're talking right there, you're talking over $1 billion.
Okay, now, let's throw something else in that hasn't even happened yet. The lawsuits for Flint have not
just
started.
the lawsuits. I mean, you've got health costs and everything else. The state is now culpable for this lead poisoning.
Yeah, so everybody reach into your pocket, pull out those dollars, and let's send them to Lansing because they need the money. Well, and the thing is, you know what? What's really still going on? You're still running over the same potholes
that we've had the money all along to fix.
Yeah.
And, that
How about you tell them what you found out?
As in the amount of money that we have for our potholes?
Mm-hmm.
Well, even before the gas tax increase of 7.3 cents and the registration fees, if you go back and pay attention to it, the gas tax, they were telling everybody it's 19 cents per gallon. Well, in all essence, it's more like 36 cents. They don't want to tell you about the other taxes and fees. And granted, these are all minor things that they seem to want to put a tax on, but yet our gas tax was created in the early 70s to do one thing, and one thing only, and that was to repair and keep our roads and bridges safe. It was never set up to go anyplace else, but yet you talk to Lansing and they'll say, all 19 cents is going to our roads. Actually, it was 13.75 cents, and the other, 5.25 cents or whatever it was left was just sitting out there magically.
And now the roads won't even be started until 2018. And on that note, we have to wrap it up for this session of Political Talk.
Views and content expressed in the previous program are not representative of ONTV or the Board of Directors. ONTV and its Board of Directors do not endorse the views, thoughts, or content of the previous program.